So Canada won't see any new Pfizer shipments next week. 0. And after that, still no word on how many Canada will get in the first 2 weeks of February. It's all because Pfizer is scaling up its manufacturing facility in Belgium. That's where we get our supplies. And now provinces are going to have to rethink their vaccine rollout strategies. Some are holding back the second dose. Others are halting vaccinations altogether. But why are some European countries getting their supplies back from that same factory so much faster than Canada? Pfizer says, well, there's supposed to be equity, but is it fair for Canada to wait so long? Now, the federal government maintains that Canada is still on track to meet the March target of 4 million Pfizer doses, but we're clearly at the back of the line now, and we'll have to wait till the very end of that deadline to get those doses. Should Canada expect more delays going forward? Let's get some answers. Joining me now is the Minister of Procurement, Anita Anand. Welcome back. As a regular guest on the program, we always appreciate hearing from you, Minister. Today, Major General Fulton said that Canada will receive no Pfizer doses next week because of the delay when they retool the Belgium factory. We were told first 80% less, now it's none. When did the federal government, when did you find out that we'd be getting 0 vaccines next week?
I found out this morning, actually, and I want to start off by saying that we promised Canadians that we would give timely information, good and bad. We've had much good news on vaccines, including being one of the first countries to inoculate its citizens back before the holidays. Unfortunately, today we heard a temporary interruption in our delivery schedules from Pfizer, but rest assured that deliveries will pick up, and we are on track for our Q1 deliveries from Pfizer being in the amount of 4 million doses. And combined with the Moderna doses at 2 million, we're on track for 6 million doses by the end of the quarter. And then, of course, Evan, into the next quarter, we are going to see a total of 20 million doses in Q2 rolling into this country from both Moderna and Pfizer alone. So we are still on track to have all Canadians who wish to have a vaccine able to have access to that vaccine by the end of September.
But to be fair, Minister, backloading things to March is a lot different than receiving them in January or February. Everybody watches, you know, if we were ordering something online and the delivery took a month later than we expected, it wouldn't be considered good service. The economy and lives depend on this. So are you saying now that Pfizer is backloading our 4 million doses into March? Doses, obviously people and provinces expected in both January and February.
I'm acknowledging that there is an interruption in the supply chain that is very unfortunate and very disappointing, to be sure. But I'm also reiterating the very important point that our diverse procurement approach means that we're still having shipments of Moderna coming into this country, that we will begin to ramp up again with the Pfizer doses after next week. So, Evan, this is a temporary reduction, but it doesn't impact the overall deliveries that we're receiving in this quarter, and I think that's really important.
I get that, but again, you and I both know time matters because provinces want to inoculate frontline workers and long-term care health workers, and every day we're losing like 140 people, so this is a big deal. How many doses will Canada get in the first 2 weeks of February? That wasn't clear today. Do you know, like after we go to 0, what are they going to deliver in the first 2 weeks of February?
Well, I want to be clear that this week, because of packaging and shipments, our Pfizer doses were by and large already out the door before the reduction came into place. And so Canada is relatively unaffected by the Pfizer reductions this week. We are going to see the reduction next week, as you suggest, and then we're going to ramp back up in February. We do not have a delivery schedule, Evan, as of yet, and as soon as that schedule becomes available, I'm sure that Major General Fulton will be explaining that to the provinces and territories and the Canadian public.
But the delivery schedule is key. Like you're even finding out about these sudden changes. That makes it hard on the provinces. Pfizer released a statement saying they'll be back to their original schedule of deliveries to the EU beginning on January 15th or 25th that week. That's the week we go to 0. So you had told Canadians that we were being treated fairly on the world stage. There was equity in our contracts. Every country would experience the same delay. That's clearly not the case. Why are European countries getting their supplies after this delay so much faster than Canada?
I beg to differ, Evan, and I don't agree with you saying that that's clearly not the case, not at all. When I've been meeting with Pfizer over the past number of days, I insisted on equitable treatment for Canada, and I was indeed assured by Pfizer that Canada would receive equitable treatment. And so, indeed, we are receiving such treatment from Pfizer, and we will be on track to receive our Pfizer doses in this quarter. I also want to
can you just explain that? I know you disagree with me. I guess if you define equitable as everyone's going to get the same doses by the end of March, I think a lot of Canadians, I'm just trying to understand this. It's clearly not equitable in the sense that they're going to get their doses back online faster than Canada. So how is that? Are you saying it's equitable in the long run but not in the short run? I'm just trying to figure this out.
Well, I think they're valid questions. And when I posed a number of these questions in my meetings with Pfizer over the last number of days, I'll reiterate that they assured me that over the course of the reduction period, Canada was being treated equitably in comparison to other countries. And I also wanted to mention that further details regarding the way in which Pfizer is defining equitable treatment, I think, are better directed to Pfizer. My sole focus is on procuring vaccines for Canada, not Europe, and I'm making sure that we are on track with our vaccine procurements so that every single Canadian who wants to be vaccinated can be vaccinated as soon as possible.
I guess my question was their definition of equitable satisfactory to the Canadian government? Because you got Doug Ford, the Ontario Premier, out today saying if this was up to him, he'd be on the phone every day up Pfizer's trumpet with a firecracker, and I'm paraphrasing some more colorful language he used. He said they wouldn't know what hit them, and he insinuated essentially that Canada is not putting enough pressure on Pfizer. How many calls, for example, has the Prime Minister made to the company, and how many have you made, as you listen to Doug Ford, to get up their trumpet?
Well, let me tell you, Evan, this is my file. The procurement of vaccines is my file. And as a result, I have been on the phone numerous times with Pfizer, as has my team. And I've been in direct communication with the Prime Minister and the Prime Minister's office to make sure that Canada's strategy in vaccine procurement, of making sure that we have a diverse portfolio, the largest number of doses per capita of any country in the world, continues to be rolled out in the way that it should. We did not have any control over what Pfizer notified us about last Thursday, but we are pushing every lever to make sure that we have earlier and earlier doses.
Again, and I appreciate your file, but some have said, oh, the Prime Minister of Israel's called Pfizer like 17 times or something. Is it time for the Prime Minister to say, this is urgent for us, we don't want to lag behind the Europeans, we define equitable as now, not March? Should the Prime Minister be calling Pfizer?
Well, Evan, I actually did say that to Pfizer. I actually did say to Pfizer a number of times that this is a very urgent matter. And I've been on the phone, including texting with the company to make sure that they are fully aware of the urgency of the situation for Canada. And indeed, they are aware as a result of our frequent and strenuous communications with them, advocating for this country, making sure that we will get vaccines in this country for every single Canadian who wishes to be vaccinated.
Minister Doug Ford also said maybe it's time to ask Joe Biden, who will be the president as of tomorrow. He said, my American friends, quote, help us out. We need help once again, as we did with personal protective equipment. You have a new president. He said there's no more excuses. He asked for 1 million doses from the Pfizer Kalamazoo plant. Have you asked the U.S. to maybe spare the 1 million doses from their plant? Is that even a realistic idea?
We have an incredible ambassador, Kirsten Hillman, in the United States, working on behalf of our country every day. I've been in constant communication with her. My understanding is that all of the doses that are emerging from the Kalamazoo plant are for distribution in the United States. Nevertheless, we will continue to press all levers. Our contract at the current time specifies that our doses will come from PERS, but let me assure you, as I have in the past, that we are leaving no stone unturned, as this is the priority of my ministry, of me, and of our government.
Two last quick ones. I'm sure you've asked this of Pfizer. Have you asked them if a delay could happen again? Because obviously these are consequential. Could this happen again, and should we prep for that?
Global supply chains are stretched. This is a volatile period in our history, given that there are very few suppliers and every single country is seeking the same good. Having said that, I did press Pfizer to make sure that we will be on track. Indeed, the upgrades to the PERS facility is going to enable us to remain on track and hopefully see earlier and earlier doses in the second quarter of this year. We will be on track with our vaccine procurement strategy, Evan, and I'll be happy to return to speak with you and your audience about those deliveries once they continue to roll in.
And last question, provinces are saying they've got to adjust their rollout plans, delaying the second dose, in Quebec as much as 90 days, and you and I have spoken about that, the Pfizer and Moderna. But Alberta said, Jason Kenney was saying they've actually already run out of doses. So is that going to happen, Minister? Are provinces going to come to you and say, we're literally run out? Is that true? Is Alberta out?
Evan, I will just say this, that we have made delivery schedules as clear as we can for the provinces and territories. They know what they're getting, and they can base their inoculations on the basis of those schedules. I also have seen statistics that show that we have distributed about 854,000 doses of vaccines, and 641,000 of those vaccines have been administered, meaning that there is room to grow in the vaccine inoculation strategies that the provinces and territories are employing. It is very important to remember that we are continuing to provide information in real time to the provinces and territories regarding delivery schedules, and we will continue to do that as we cooperate and collaborate to get through this together.
Minister, I always appreciate your time on these critical matters. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Evan.